How's it going, animation timers? It's that time again. It's time to get into some animation, time to get that imagination all cranked up and get into some creativity, and it's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from Alex Raymond, often referred to as one of the great grandfathers of the modern comic book illustration. Beautiful stuff. Really love his stuff. It kind of mixes Lion Decker or Rockwell sensibilities into comics, and just phenomenal. Really brings that high level into the comic book world that wasn't really around there. This is some Flash Gordon stuff. I really like this. I like his kind of the line work that he does for his shading. I think that's very interesting stylization choice there. But he's just phenomenal. Definitely, if you're not familiar with his work, do yourself a favor and go through, pour through some of the myriads of his work that's available out there, and you'll just get inspired just through everything. It's just lovely stuff. Great personality, great anatomy, and like I said, he does the mix of kind of taking high art and bringing those sensibilities into the world of comics. And I think he did a phenomenal job and inspired generations and generations to push their comic book illustration to a new level. And I wanted to share a quote with you guys from him, and that was a comic artist begins with a white sheet of paper and dreams up his own business. And I think that's a interesting way of putting that from the medium of it pretty much, you start with a lump of clay and then you build your sculpture out of it. You start with your instrument and you build music out of it. Whatever it is, it's about the artist or the art taking something and giving it that illusion of life. I think in the end that's kind of where we all go with that. And I think it's just a great way of talking about it. And like right now we're looking at this. This is the Sinka rig that we'll be using for today, and it's just static. It's not going to do anything without us infusing a bit of life and a bit of imagination and everything into it. So that being said, let's go ahead and do that. This is the Sinka rig. It's a free rig you can grab over at Creative Crash, and I will throw a link to it in the description below. And if you're not familiar with what we'll be doing for the rest of the video, is we give ourselves 48 frames, it's 2 seconds of animation. We'll go off and I find a rig that I've never used before. It's a free resource for you guys to play around with as well, and we kind of go from there. A little bit over the shoulder, hang out with me while I animate, a little bit of talking through the process, or some instruction or guidance. But most of all, the goal of doing these videos each and every day is to hopefully encourage you guys and inspire you to go off and create something amazing and wonderful yourself. And if you do, feel free to share it down below so I can give you some thumbs up and some encouragement. And being said, let's go ahead and play around. So I think for today, since it is kind of a holiday today, we'll do just a cycle. And let's get down and play. So let's go and push that foot forward and push that one back. Let's turn our grid off. Arm down. Actually, kind of wanted to do something a little bit different with the arms for this one. Yeah, let's bend that wrist in. And let's drop that one down. Just want to create an interesting pose to start with. Something that brings this animation a little bit different from every other one out there. We can infuse some personality in there. And let's look at the hands here. And let's go curl A, B, and C. Actually, we'd probably do B, C, and D mostly. And C and D. Curl that up a little bit more. Let's pull A up a little bit. Just kind of do a little bit more individualization here. And we'll look at this one. We'll kind of do some elbows up while he's walking. Keep kind of a little bit of a tude here, or personality walk there. And we got curl this way. Scrunch. Scrunch is an interesting controller because they don't have a scrunch there. And let's like how these hands are. It looks like they're very, give you a lot of control over how you can make each one work, which is nice. Some hand controllers don't work nearly as well as that. It looks like this one's got some nice to it. Now, is there a twist at all to it? I thought that orbit might be it. So maybe that's what we'll have to do. And then pull that out a little bit. Go something like that. Okay. And let's go ahead and just save our file. We are using Autodesk Maya 2014 for today's video. And let's go ahead and look at the other hand here. And let's grab B, C, D. Those in all the way like that. Grab the B's and pull them out a little bit. Do a little bit of A. Pull it back a little. And go down further a little bit with that one. And let's tighten up that middle finger a little bit more here as well. And let's look at that thumb. Go and go with the thumb. And just pull it in a little bit more. Let's rotate that one forward a little bit. And pull this one back just a little bit. Rotate forward here. Drop the hips down a little bit. Let's go and puff the chest out. Maybe a little bit more here. Maybe we'll use this controller instead. Puff it out there. And then we'll rotate that back a little bit. And rotate that one out a little bit as well. And tip that head up a little bit as well. And maybe loosen up the neck. And now let's also give a little bit of splay to the feet. Just twist them out a little bit. And push the hips forward a little bit more. Push that foot back a little bit. Dip the hips down just a little bit more. Okay, and let's start with that. The only thing I kind of want to do a little bit more of is pull that back a little bit. Just so it's not looking like it's going right in his face. So maybe we'll just have to tilt it there a little bit. And we'll look at the other one here. And we'll tilt that down a little bit. And maybe a little teeny bit more. Okay, and let's start there. Okay, we're going to go ahead and save our file one more time. Let's set our frame range from 0 to 48 here. We'll go ahead and grab everything, go to frame 0, and we'll set our first key. And let's go back 12 frames here. Bring that foot back. And we'll go forward again. Let's look at, and back again, and forward again. And let's look at the other foot here. Try and find similar spacing there. And then move that back to 12. Delete that one. Bring that forward. Bring that back. hips would go up as the foot would, as the hips would twist to let the leg go up for the next step. But we're going to kind of go the opposite way here just to play around with it. So let's see. Yeah, that'll feel better. And let's crank it a little more. Alright, and let's look at the feet. Let's go ahead and just lock in the main keys we have right now. And let's go 6, we'll raise it up. And 30, we'll raise it up. And we'll go to the other foot. Again, we're going to lock in all the keys we already have built just one more time, just by hitting S on our keyboard. And to raise it up here, go down, raise it up here, and then we'll go down. So let's see that now. Alright, really need to crank up those hips. They're too staticky, so there we go. Alright, and let's see if do they have a heel roll here? Foot roll. There we go. 2 frames. Zero that out. And key at 8 here. And bring it up. There we go. Make sure to zero it out there again. And then we'll go foot roll here. 2 frames, flatten it out. 4 frames, keep that, and lift it up a little bit more, zero it out, and then go back to where we started there. So let's see. Got a little flicker. Let's make sure we duplicate that key, and let's look at it again. Okay, and let's look at the other foot. So I want to do a little bit of peel there, zero it out here, lift it up there, 2 frames, flatten it out, 4 frames, keep that. I'm going to do a little bit of peel forward, zero it out here, lift it up there, 2 frames, zero it out. 4 frames, key it again, and then go back into the original pose that we wanted. So let's watch that. Okay, it's starting to work, so let's go ahead and save that. And let's do some more on the hips. So we're going to push the hips over the planted foot there, and over the planted foot there, and back again. Back there, and then zero that out. And let's look at that translate X, see if it's fairly even variation from left to right side. So we're going to even it up a little bit more. And let's see how it feels. And let's add a little bit of rotate. Z there, rotate the Z. Just so that we could allow the hips to rotate up as that leg would be lifting up. And then zero that out. And let's clean that up as well. Let's see that. Okay, and let's do a little bit of rotate Y to favor the front planted foot here, and the other side again, back again, and then back to the original pose here. And let's even that up as well, and I think it's probably too much, so I'll probably scale it back as well to probably about 3/4 of what we had before. And let's go and look at that again. Only thing is I kind of want to tip the hips a little bit more forward in our translate Z. There we go. Let's try that. Okay, and let's do a little bit of rotate Y to favor the front planted foot here, and the other side. And twist in there. And then I'll probably scale both of these back. I feel like I'm doing a lot of that in the chest right now, and I don't need that much of it. Okay. And let's even that out so we're not really favoring one side over the other, and also scale it back. Feels like it was just a little too much. Obviously we favored one side over the other there, so I'm just going to go a little bit less here as well. And let's see how that looks. There we go. I'll probably do a little bit more rotate Y. Maybe I'll scale that back up. Alright, now let's do a little bit with the arms here. So we're going to go back with that one, forward with that one, back there, and then again. Let's see that. Okay. And let's even that out a little bit more here. And let's look at the other arm. I want to swing it forward there, and back there, forward there, and then back again. And let's also bring it up a little bit higher. Here, down a little bit lower there, up there, and then back again here. So let's see. Okay, and let's do a little bit on this side as well. So a little bit of rotate X down there, and up there, down there, and up there. Or rather, loop it back here. So let's see. I do feel like this arm doesn't swing far enough over. So let's do a little more rotate Y here, a little less rotate X, so more something like that. Let's see that now. Maybe we could go a little bit higher in the X, and a little bit lower just overall. Let's see. I'll probably go a little bit more there. Let's start off a little bit more here. So let's see. Okay. It's feeling alright. Now let's do a little bit in the elbows here. And we'll kick it up there, and down here, kick it up there, and then go back again. And let's see how that feels. Nah. Okay, let's do a little bit. Let's try to rotate Y. And bring it in. Bring it down. Just trying to loosen up those elbows a little bit more. Let's see. I don't want to look like he's punching himself in the jaw, though. So, let's see. It's these ones specifically. we'll get rid of that. Let's take the hand here, the wrist. Let's go ahead and flick it up. Let's go back again. Let's see that. Maybe we just won't go in so far, but see, I like this one. This one feels like that's working okay. So what is it here? It's the wrist. Maybe it's this hand that needs to drop down further so that I can go lower. Let's see. Well, that one feels too high, so let's go back there. Yeah, that ridge is too high overall. That feels better. Maybe we could drop it down even a little bit lower. And put the shoulders down, maybe. Go up here, and down there, and up here, and down there, up here. See if a little bit of bounce in the shoulders would help us here. So let's see. There. Okay. And let's see how I can play that up a little bit more. Let's watch that now. There's some funky wrist here. So let's delete that one. Let's see. And let's grab this guy here. Let's see if we can do a little bit of flick up here. And then go down there. And flick it up there. Bring it down there. And then go back. So let's see. Alright, now let's look at the other one. It's not perfect yet, but that's more along the line of that nice little wrist flick. Bring it down here. And flick it up there. Bring it down there. And flick it up here. And then go back again. And let's see that now. Maybe we need to do a little bit more on the other side. On this wrist again. Crank it up a little bit more. Let's see. And let's do a little bit less on this one again. Now let's see if we can just pull the arms out a little bit more overall. So I mean taking universally the rotate Y and pulling it out or back a little bit more. And same thing here. We'll get so close to each other. Let's see. Okay, and let's maybe tone down the wrists again then. A lot of that was to try to make sure that they wouldn't intersect with each other. But now that we've kind of cleaned that out by pushing them out a little bit more, and kind of tone them down. They're a little too floppy. So let's see. And let's crank up those shoulders. Get some nice bounce there. Let's watch that now. Yeah, let's look at the butt controller and see if we can go down here, up there, and then we'll delay that a frame or so, give a little bit of extra bounce on the bootay. Let's see. And let's go ahead and delay the frame. And balance it out a little more here. So let's see. Alright, let's watch it now. Maybe a little bit less up. Nah, we'll go back. Not like that. Maybe we could do a little bit on the chest as well here. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and then go back again. Okay, and let's go the opposite way. So I was kind of figuring what happened is we kind of locked it off by doing the reverse of the hips, so we want to kind of play into it a little bit more. So let's do the inverse there. Let's see. And let's start right about here. And 45. Let's key that on. Break down again. Let's crank that up a little bit more. I'll just leave it alone. Just get rid of it. Let's see if we can maybe do a little bit here. There we go. Down, up, down, up, down, up, and 1 second here. Okay, sorry about that. Let's go ahead and see where were we. So I'm gonna do a little bit of toes, fingers, and something with the head. So let's start off with the head first. Sure, start recording here. Let's do a little bit of rotate Z there. A little bit there. A little bit this way. A little bit that way. And then go back to where we started. Let's see. There we go. And let's do a little bit of rotate Y here. Y there. Y there. Y there. And back again. Let's see that now. Now is there facial panel. There we go. Cool. I wanted to do like a blink or something. something with the eyes. The eyes just feel very, I don't know, dead. Or yeah, I guess so. So I'll go ahead and set that there. I'll go ahead and bring it down here. Okay, set that. Those guys will bring them up just a little bit there. And then we'll go back to where we were again. Go back there. And then we want to do like 10. Let's bring it. Okay, let's go. I want to overshoot here. So we'll grab them separately there. So we go. Go somewhere kind of like 11. Set that at 21. Hold that for a little longer. Then we overshoot, close. Hold that for a few frames. We'll keep not necessarily a blink, we'll do an actual close. And we pop them back open. And then into there. And then we'll ease back into the end here. Okay, well, let's see how we did with that. Yeah, let's give ourselves another frame to open up that feels a little forced here. So let's see. Yeah, let's take the eyelids and I'll delay them a frame here. Bottom lids, and let's see. So you see a little bit of variation there. Okay, and then do we have eyebrows? No, we do have some. Is this a jaw? We do a little bit of tilt on the jaw there. And back again. Let's see that. Yeah, it's probably a little too much. And just do a little teeny bit of that. Let's see. Now let's look at the cheeks here. We can do a little bit of sway on the cheeks there. Swing out. Swing to the other side. Swing back over there. Swing over there. And go back again. Let's see. Alright, now let's turn that back to off. And let's see how that feels. Now let's look at this middle part of the belly. Maybe we can do a little bit of up and down and there as well. Let's see, I'm not sure exactly the timing I want to use for this, but I want it to be different than the top and the bottom. And then go back again. Let's see that. Tone that down a bit. Sometimes you have to wait till you turn the nerve curves off, see how it really feels, because those can be very flashy, but once they're this one. I think I might sneeze. Sorry about that. Is it gonna come? Sorry about that. And let's zero that out here. Drag the toe there. Lift it up here. Go 3 frames later. And zero it out again. And let's see how that feels. Now, one other thing I want to do is I want to give a little bit of rotate X on the passing position there. Just a little bit. And there as well. And let's look at this one. Just so it's not so flat-footed while it's raising up. And this one. And let's watch those feet again. Okay, and then let's do just a little bit on the fingers as well. Just a little bit of flop there. So let's go to grab all of these guys here. And we'll go B, C, D. So let's kind of swing up there. And I'll kind of scrunch in here a little bit. And then we'll take what we have 6, we'll put that at 30, 18, 42, go back again, and then we'll add some variety in there. Okay. And let's take the C and D curls. And we'll delay those a frame. And we'll take the D curl and we'll delay that a frame. And we'll take everything on the index and we'll push it forward a frame, and everything on the pinky and we'll delay it a frame. And that should give us a little more variety in there. If you do feel like the curl A, or maybe curl B here, we could exaggerate a little bit more on these ones. So let's see. Okay, and let's look at the other hand. We'll just do a little bit there just to kind of keep those fingers moving. So I'm going to take B, C, and D, scrunch it in a little bit more. Let's say that. Go here. We want to swing them out a little bit more. And we'll go back and forth and back again. So let's see. And let's take all of the C and D curls and we'll delay them a frame, and all the D curls, and delete those a frame, and take everything on the index finger, push it forward a frame, everything on the pinky, and delay it back, and let's see how we looked. I think we could probably exaggerate this side a little bit more, especially on those swing ups here. But let's take the C and D and we'll bring those tighter a little bit. So it's just the B curl that we really want to amp up on the other side here. Now let's see. Okay, and let's do a little bit on the thumb as well. Sorry, my nose is running a little bit here. So let's go at 3. We'll curl in. so that I get a key in there. And then I'll do the inverse on the left side. And back again. Okay. Now for this one, I just want to switch it, but at least I'll have my timing keys in there. So make it a little bit easier for me. And it's just a little bit of give, but just so you have some movement in those thumbs as well. Alright, I think that works for today. You could definitely play with this a little bit longer. 1 second. Oh, my nose is running like crazy. Okay, let's do a little bit more up and down just on the body overall, because the head feels like it's not really getting a lot of that. So just take the overall up and down, and we'll just crank it up a little bit more, just so I get a little bit in the head. Right, and then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to grab everything and look at our graph editor and just take that last frame, give us one more, so we don't hold for 2 frames there, we still have a little bit of movement in between. And that should help that seam for when it loops back to not feel like it's holding for 2 frames there. That feels a little better. I think we could do a little bit of bounce in the mouth as well, see if there's a mouth controller, so let's turn that back on. Figured it would do it with the jaw. But let's see, maybe it's the teeth we want to do. Okay, nope, that's not it. So let's not do that one. Let's just do a little bit here. So set that. We'll drag it up a little bit. We'll bring it down a little bit. Up. Down. And this is probably going to be too much already. I'm just going to do a little bit so we have a little bit of movement in that mouth. And go back again. And again, we don't want a lot, so we're just going to tone that down a lot more here. And let's turn the visuals off again there so we can actually see it. Let's see if that helped a little bit. Yeah, there's a little bit of movement there. Yeah, we can play around with that for a while, but I think that would work for today. So let's take a look back at where we started. We were looking at the beautiful work of Alex Raymond, and he said a comic artist begins with a white sheet of paper and dreams up his own business. And I think that's a great way to look at any sort of creative field, is to realize that without you, the individual, and your creative mind and your imagination, you know, in the end, it's just a lump of clay. It's just a white sheet of paper. You really have to put yourself into it, and everything you have, your experiences, your knowledge, all that stuff, and your energy level for the day, and you know, the time allotment that you have to put into it, and just try and create the most amazing thing that you can during that time. So that being said, I love you guys lots. Thanks again for hanging out with me. I hope you guys have a phenomenal 2016, and that you're setting a lot of creative goals for yourself. And I'll be right here with you if you guys want to hang out with me anytime, every day, here for a little bit of imagination and creation to share with you guys. I love you lots. Thanks for all the likes and subscribes. And I guess that'll do it for today. So that being said, we'll see you for some more animation tomorrow, next year, all of the above. All right.